Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along. Welcome to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out walking through the forest again on this beautiful afternoon in March now, I think we are. I've lost track of days during this whole nonsense that we're living through. Welcome along. If it's your first time here, welcome. This is what my channel's all about, coming out to beautiful locations like this where I live in the UK. And talking about my thoughts and opinions on subjects as varied as the arts to politics and money. And today we're going to be discussing another subject in the series. It is a series that has been going on for about 6 months now. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting ride so far, and I'm glad you're here. And if you're a returning subscriber, wonderful to have you along again. Thank you very much for joining me. It's an honor and a privilege to have so many people subscribe to my channel and joining me for these walks and talks, so thank you very much. So today, as I say, we are continuing in the series of what I've started about 6 months ago, and this is no different, this video. And it is relevant to what's happening right now, and it is something called the Streisand effect. Now, if you've never heard of the Streisand effect, I went to Wikipedia this morning and wrote it down because I always try to make sure I get my information correct, and it's checkable for the average person who knows how to use a computer, as I am. And the description on Wikipedia is the Streisand effect. It is a social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information that is withheld, has an unintended consequence of further publicizing that information, often via the internet. So I'll read that again because I messed up in the middle there. Social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information has the unintended consequence of further publicizing that information, often via the internet. So what that means is, you know, when the more they try to hide or censor information, we'll come back to they in a minute, to hide, censor information or to deplatform people, the more people seek it out, because the more you're told, don't do that, or don't look at that, don't read that information because that's bad, the more people seek it out and go and want to find out what they're talking about, because it is, you know, it's like telling a child, don't touch the hot stove. What do? Of course, every single time they go and touch the hot stove, you're a bad person. So, in the world that we're living in now, with book burning and being told that we're not allowed to look at information, like Dr. Seuss. I mean, I grew up reading Dr. Seuss books, but now we're told it's racist. I mean, it is, next we're going to have Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. These kind of books are going to be banned as well because they're racist, you know. This modern day book burning, there was a great meme I heard the other day, and everyone's talking about it right now. It's like, just name one time in history where the people who were burning books and censoring information were the good guys. You know, where are we right now? Amazon? Fuck Amazon. You know, honestly. You know, saying that they're going to not allow, and eBay's following suit, you know. They're not allowing Dr. Seuss books to be publicised. I mean, really, it's gotten to a point now, you just got to be questioning reality and saying, what the hell is going on? And I think most of us are already there, but that's why I do these videos. This is what the channel's all about, is just asking questions, starting conversations, because I've spent, I've only been doing this for about 6 months, but for those of you who have met me, have known I've been on this journey for many, many years. And I've tried to present it in such a way to my friends on Facebook and, other platforms as well, only to be shot down and called a conspiracy theorist and instantly written off as being a madman, too insane for public, you're allowed to be out and be public. So I thought I'd bring the message, hopefully to a wider audience through YouTube. How long my YouTube channel is going to last, who knows, but like the saying goes, be behind enemy lines and be out there presenting information on every platform you can to get people talking, because if you try and force something down someone's throat, it never works. And if you try and try and present information that runs counter to the narrative, usually you're shot down pretty quick. Let's put it that way. And I have been for the majority of my life. I don't know. I'd say the people who are watching me now are probably questioning things as well, as you should. Because I don't believe that we should automatically assume everything that we're told is the truth. And I don't expect you to believe me. All I'm doing is presenting information, asking questions, asking you questions, asking you to question your belief systems, and questioning the information that's being presented as being truth. That's what this is about. And then starting discussions. That's what the comment section is for, is starting discussions. Because if we can't discuss certain subjects, why shouldn't we be able to? So this whole Streisand effect, I mean, really, how it applies to right now, and it is applicable across the board in just so many different subjects, and subjects that I've discussed here, from medical tyranny to the creation of money. Now, we find ourselves right now in a world that is, I think we can all agree, it's insane. Everything we've always known, to be true, truth and just reality. That's what I love, is the reality point, reality. I'm going to be doing a video about the nature of reality at some point in the near future. It's one of my favorite subjects. I read about it all the time. There's a YouTuber called, I can't think what his name is now. He has a YouTube channel called Reality Check. If I can remember his name before the end of the video, I'll say it. Really, really great. Really, really great. And I love the way he questions everything. As do many channels that I look at, and a lot of information I read. Internet platforms like Zero Hedge. It's just all more money orientated. It is. Oh, this hill's killing me today, I tell you. There's a lot of information that's being shared, and this whole Streisand effect is kicking into place because we're being told we shouldn't be looking at it, which really strikes me as strange. Now, obviously, with the situation we're living through right now with COVID, we're being told, trust the science. Whew. Totally worth it though. Look at this place. Absolutely beautiful. Whew. The hill killed me though. I've got to get out more often. So we've been told, trust the science. Trust the science. The science is settled. It's one of the worst things you can say to me. As I've said before, I'm not traditionally well educated, as you would, as we're told that traditional education comes through schools. I left school when I was 15, but I'm quite widely read. I won't say I know too much. I know enough to get into arguments with most people, but I've taken it on myself to educate myself in the things that are important to me or that I want to learn about. And I tend to remember things that are, interesting to me. Things that I really need, I probably won't remember, like people's names, terrible with names. But things that are interesting are usually floating around somewhere in my brain somewhere. What do you call a group of giraffes? I'll come back to the answer. If you know the answer, you can sit there and say to yourself and have a giggle. But that kind of nonsense is the kind of garbage that I store in my head. But this, with the situation that we're living through now with this whole COVID thing, the Streisand effect is coming into play more and more often, which is turning out to be really bad for the people that want to push a certain message. It's beautiful here. They really wanted to put a certain narrative across of this is the truth, and that's, you can't question that. You can't question the narrative. And by pushing that message out there to people and censoring people who are speaking out against the truth that they're putting out, it just makes people go and look, which kind of destroys their argument. Now, I don't know whether you all saw, there was a group in America, frontline doctors, they called themselves. Simone Gold, I think the doctor's name was one of the doctors, well-respected doctor in the US, who came out and said, well, we've been treating patients with things like hydroxychloroquine, and other doctors have come out talking about ivermectin, and it's been going on for a year. I mean, it's not new. Having great results, but that was instantly censored, you know, when Donald Trump mentioned hydroxychloroquine, of course, because it came from Donald Trump. All the news said, oh, it's going to kill you, it'll give you heart attacks, or, you know, and this is the thing, the more that people try and censor they, who I mentioned earlier, we'll come back to that in just a second, the more they try and censor this information, the more people go out there and try and find out about it, because why shouldn't you be able to look at things? Why is information being censored, and who is responsible for it? So, you know, this is you know, who is responsible is the key. And the one thing that I keep on coming back to is follow the money. Who's involved? And financially, who's going to benefit from this? And they always will. There's always going to be people who benefit. And I can't remember which politician that said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And they're certainly not letting this crisis go to waste. Here in the UK, God, I can't remember his name is. There's members within the government, let's put it that way. If I remember what his name is, I'll come back to it as well. Matt Hancock. He awarded a massive contract, millions and millions of dollars in PPE, personal protective equipment, to his friend's company. Okay, so follow the money. But then you're not allowed to talk about that because, it's COVID. Trust the science. The science is settled. Follow the money. Vaccine manufacturers are going to benefit massively. Now, I've talked about Davos before in my videos, and the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum run by Klaus Schwab, who looks like a Bond villain. I mean, my personal opinion, I can't say that he is, of course, because that would be defamation, but he looks like one, in my opinion, looks like the typical Bond villain. The World Economic Forum is a group of, the world's billionaires and millionaires who get together once a year at Davos to decide how the rest of us are going to live. True story. Government officials go there as well as to be told by the world's elite how they're going to run their countries. So non-governmental organisations, NGOs they call them, are telling governments how to run their countries. Okay, so who is censoring the speech? Who's telling the news organisations to censor their speech? And why are the news agencies complying? Now, I've spoken about this before in some of my other videos about the Epstein story, who Jeffrey Epstein is, why he's important, who's involved. When you understand that there are a lot of wealthy, influential people that are compromised by these kind of scandals, you'll start to see how easy it is to manipulate the news cycle. Now, it's not just politicians and people within government, people within financial markets, people in movies, rock stars, film stars, across the board, influencers are compromised by many different ways. It's not just through Epstein, it's many different ways. And in many ways you have to be compromised to get to the top levels, because that's the only way you're allowed to be at the top level. If you want a seat at the table, you have to be compromised in order to get there. And that happens in a number of different ways. So follow the money. Now, we have Bill Gates, of course, everybody's favourite Bill Gates, the philanthropist, was at Davos. This is the reason I spoke about Davos. Was at Davos last year, and he said he is going to increase his wealth massively through vaccinations. He is involved in the formulation of the vaccines for this coronavirus. It started last year, just whoop, popped out of nowhere, of course, out of Wuhan in China, of course. But they already had a vaccine ready to go so fast. Multiple vaccines, in fact. In fact, Johnson & Johnson's just released one. One shot wonder, wonderful. Johnson & Johnson. Aren't they the same company that had talcum powder that had asbestos in it? They knew that it was causing cancer and still released it. But I'm sure that vaccine's just fine. Go and have it. It's good for you. But you can't talk about that. You'll be deplatformed. And as soon as you start to question and pull the thread on a lot of this kind of information, you're instantly labelled as a conspiracy theorist. Where did the label conspiracy theorist come from, by the way? For those of you who don't know, it was originally coined by the CIA back in the 70s, 60s, when JFK got shot, and they put into the consciousness of the world that to question the official narrative of John F. Kennedy getting shot in the head by a single shooter in the book depository. If you question that narrative, you're a conspiracy theorist and you're pushing unfounded conspiracy. And the label stuck so well because it was just injected into everywhere through the news cycle, through Operation Mockingbird. If you don't know what that is, perhaps go and have a look at Operation Mockingbird too. Operation Mockingbird was a CIA program. Surprise, surprise. And if you think the CIA just operates in America, think again. They operate with all the spy agencies around the world, including Mossad, including MI5 and MI6 here in the UK, Australian Secret Services, all of them. Now, Operation Mockingbird was a program where they were taking CIA or spies or, agents, whatever you want to call them, and putting them into newsrooms, newspapers, cable networks, to control the news cycle, to make sure that the news that they wanted was put into the news cycle for a purpose, to keep the narrative that they wanted. So they is who? Okay, so who controls the information? Who controls the flow of information? So if we know that the world's billionaires and millionaires get together at Davos every year to instruct governments on how things are going to work. We know that the CIA operates. We're not just talking about the CIA, we're talking about spy agencies across the board. The CIA operates throughout the world, and they control the news cycle. Then we have, obviously, politicians that are compromised in whatever way. So I'll just stop for a moment and just give you look at this place. Awesome. It really is. So we know that there's lots of people that are compromised, and you need to understand the Epstein story and how that all fits in as well. I did a video a little while ago, the Epstein story. Have a look at it. Have a look. It'll give you a bit of an insight into how and why things are happening the way that they are. And the news cycle is being controlled. Then you have big tech. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, well, it's owned by Facebook anyway, YouTube. So you have Susan Wojcicki over at YouTube. Google. Google is Sergey Brin, I think it was, who was married to Susan Wojcicki's sister, who ran a DNA testing company, Ancestry. I think Ancestry. I want to know Ancestry. It's a DNA tracking company where you send in your DNA and they tell you who you're related to. 23andMe, I think it was called. It's Anne Wojcicki. Was married to Sergey Brin, the founder of Google. I might be getting the names wrong, but trust me, these link together, and you can go and look for yourself. Don't believe me, as I say. Don't ever believe me. Go and look for yourself. Then there's the Mark Zuckerberg, who didn't invent Facebook. It's a lie. Complete lie. It was a government program called DARPA, and originally started life as LifeLog. And LifeLog was designed to capture information about everyone on the planet, who their friends were, who they're linked to, where they live, all that kind of stuff. The same day that LifeLog got closed down, Facebook started. You still feel comfortable using Facebook? So all the tech companies are involved. You know, there's a lot you don't know. Who is Mark Zuckerberg's wife? Where is she from? Maybe China? Have a look around at Eric Swalwell. If you haven't heard about that nonce in American politics, maybe have a look into him. He did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Fang Fang Bang Bang. Well, he did. You know, these people are compromised, all of them. And the compromising part, I'm not even going to bother, but trust me, they are. Jack Dorsey, all of them. And Amazon of course, compromised. Look what they're doing, book burning. So these people who are running the largest organisations on the planet that control the information, flow of information that everybody sees, are all part of this. Oh, it sounds like a conspiracy to me, Chris. Well, it's because it is. You can't question information. And if you do, you're labelled a conspiracy theorist. Who came up with that? CIA. Then we talk about someone like Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, the saviour of us all, because he came out and told us what the NSA was doing, right? Then he went where? To China. That's right, he went to Hong Kong. Chinese controlled Hong Kong. So Edward Snowden, that patriot, that wonderful man who was looking after us all, I fell for it, 100%. Until I really started looking into it. You know, to tie it back into the Streisand effect, for me, I mean, I've been looking at this information for years and years and years, purely because I was told I wasn't allowed to. And this isn't a new phenomenon. You need to understand this. You know, history. My grandma started on this when I was me on this journey when I was a kid, because she gave me books about ancient Egypt and told me to question things, you know, and I took it well beyond what she thought I would. Obviously, my grandma's not here anymore, but you know, when you start to look at history, it's very weird, very, very weird. The ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. Oh shit! Sorry, must be COVID. But when you're told that you can't look at something like vaccines are a prime example. As soon as you're told the science is settled, they're good for you, it makes me go, really? So if the science is settled, why can't I look? Why can't I question it? Why can't I look at the vaccine insert? Why won't you tell me what the ingredients are? And let me make up my own mind. Oh, thimerosal good for you. Thimerosal is what? Based on mercury? Isn't mercury a known neurotoxin? That's interesting. But we can't question that because the science is settled. The science is settled. Let's discuss that for just a moment. Any scientists here? Anybody? Not me, obviously, but any scientists here? I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna next video. I'm gonna make sure I Google this. Probably not Google it. DuckDuckGo it, because Google. Well, we all know how Google is. Science is never settled. Science is never settled. You know, the science is constantly questioning and asking if our working theory is correct. You know, so when you say the science is settled, that's not science anymore. That's dogma. That's like you know, back in the Middle Ages when someone spoke out about anything saying that if you said that the world wasn't the center of the universe, heresy. That's what science is now. As soon as you speak about something that goes against the science is settled narrative, it's heresy. You should be struck down and put in prison. Go into a digital gulag. Look at all the people that have been struck down on the internet, right? They can't have YouTube channels. They can't speak their voice. They can't take payments. There's a YouTube channel that YouTube used to be on a YouTube channel. It's now on BitChute and Rumble, another platform called And We Know. It's a Christian conservative channel that talks about a letter of the alphabet, the 17th letter of the alphabet mostly, and how that applies to what's our current events that are happening, they were not only deplatformed off YouTube, many other platforms as well, but then they print shirts and sell merchandise for their channel to keep their channel going, because that's how they make their living. And the people who were printing their clothing and their shirts stopped them. PayPal will not let them use their platform to take payments. You know, and this is across the board. There's so many people that have been deplatformed and not allowed to use commonly used internet payments providers. You know, all these things. Making t-shirts. How would you stop someone making a t-shirt for their channel? Oh, it's hateful content, they say. I mean, who decides what hateful is? It is a very, very strange, backward, upside down world that we're living in now. And for me, the more we go down this road, and the more they say you can't look, or you're not allowed to know this information, or you can't question, the more people are going to go and look for that information, which is evidenced by how many people are joining my channel. You know, I started out just some guy on the internet, you know, just speaking his mind, talking his opinion, and my channel grows more every single day. And I'm ever thankful for it. I really am. I'm honoured and grateful for how many people are joining me for this journey. But it just shows me that more and more people are questioning the narrative, the Streisand effect. And the more that they try and strangle the narrative, the more this happens. Now, also back to our man from the NSA, the whistleblower. Who came out, Edward Snowden, who came out and told us all the NSA is watching everything you do, all these things that he said, and everyone believed it, as did I. What did we find out about Edward Snowden? He worked for who? Who? CIA, you say? That's interesting. Hope it don't believe me. Go and look. Yes, he was employed at the CIA. Where was he before the CIA? Oh, sorry, it was the NSA. As a programmer, but where was he before? CIA. And now where is he? Oh, that's right, Russia. Who else we got in prison here in the UK? Julian Assange. You know, he was running WikiLeaks. They, you know, by their own admission, every single lawsuit that's been brought against him has failed because they don't hack. And they have whistleblowers come to them with information. Your whistleblowers should be protected, right? But look at Edward Snowden. He was allowed to release information. Information is being suppressed. And the more it's suppressed, and the more we're told to not look at it, the more people are going to look. So while I won't tell you, and I never will, that this is the ultimate truth that I'm saying, because I'm just a guy. I'm just like anybody else on the internet. I'm just like anybody on the television saying their piece. All I'm doing is asking questions. I'm asking you to as well. Do you believe everything that you're being told? You shouldn't. It doesn't matter what source it comes from. You should always question it. And you should have the ability and the right to question that. But that's being taken from us every single day by the very same people who are saying we have the answers. Take some time. Don't be afraid of being called names. And you will be if you dare to question. I have been for years. People think I'm insane. Clearly, I'm insane. You know, walking around in nature without a mask on. I mean, I must be the craziest man in the world. It's the most deadly virus in the face of the earth. But if we're being told not to question, why is that? And who's telling us? Who's benefiting? Follow the money. You've got people like Bill Gates coming out there and saying he's going to increase his net worth by 20% just by vaccinating. So, on that note, I don't want to leave on a bad note. I want you to understand that there are people out there who are raising their voices, and you can too. You don't have to be on the receiving end of the. You don't have to be on the receiving end of all the put downs and the hatred and the anger. You can stand your ground and be respectful, and still try and make your point and get people to at least question the information that we've all been told, because if you can't question, what world are we moving into? And on that note, I will say goodbye, and I'll say thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be here. I will be posting more and more videos as my internet comes back online, but until then, look after yourselves, look after each other, spread some love in the world, share your voice, because you are as important as anybody else on this planet. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye.